I'm not impressed with the whole thing. And if you give me a chainsaw, I would take it off.
Hi and welcome to this week's Three Legs Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with
Dan.
Chris and Lee.
You remembered your name, Dan?
I did remember my name.
And you found some bass in your voice.
Oh yeah. You watched the Earl Grey whistle test thing with Whispering Bob Harris on Friday night, didn't you? You've just been picking up tips.
I didn't actually know, but
Totally should do though. Should watch that thing, the Old Grey Whistle test. I had the DVD.
No, this wasn't the best. This wasn't the best of the Earl Grey whistle test. It was really, really dull, and all the best bits they just cut really short.
Was the Earl Grey whistle test on the BBC?
Yes.
How the fuck did Whispering Bob Harris escape U-Tree?
Oh, he's still on Radio 2.
Is he?
Whispering Bob Harris, yeah.
What a name.
He's got a great voice. Talks a little bit like this.
It's not his real name. I think it's only by marriage. He was just called Bob Harris, and he married Mrs. Whispering. Talk about making niche jokes.
Anyway,
Right,
we're not here to talk about music.
No, that's true because there's kind of a Formula One season probably about started now.
It has begun. It's in the wheels are in motion, literally.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a Williams, then not.
the McLaren wheels are in motion.
In different
The wrong way.
separate directions. We've had the first day of testing, which we've got some stuff to look back on that. But me and Lee have had another of our infamous road trips.
Which I'm sure you're all aware of by now if you follow us on the old social medias and listen to the last podcast.
Or the new
men.
social medias.
Two men spending far too much time with each other over the last 4 weeks.
Yes.
And this time we were doing it on the cheap, and we had to get one of those family hotel rooms, and I ended up in the bloody pull-out bed. Yeah, we walked into the room. He barged me out of the way, jumped on the bed, and went, "Claiming the big one."
Cold being an alpha.
No, as you said at the time, it's called being fatter than me.
I didn't say fatter, I said taller because I'm not fatter than you.
That's the words that I heard anyway.
So yeah, you guys had a little trip actually to Silverstone for the Mercedes launch.
We did. We were at Silverstone, making the most of Mercedes' great hospitality.
Is that a euphemism for drinking lots of champagne?
No, there was lots of coffee.
It was good coffee.
It was some of the best coffee that I have had in a long time.
Yeah.
The coffee was great. The catering, I'm assuming, was good, but unfortunately everything had peppers in, which I'm allergic to, so I couldn't eat. So next time I go to an F1 launch, I'm taking a pack up.
And due to my illness, I was scared of eating food.
Yeah, Lee was sick twice
Once at Silverstone Cafe,
Yeah.
and once
in the press centre.
In the middle of Lewis's press conference. You did make it out of the press area to do that. You didn't actually,
Yeah.
just to reassure everyone, you didn't actually hurl on Lewis Hamilton.
No,
What about the car?
thankfully not. I did feel pretty ropey when the car launched though, in the garage bit.
Well, I'm guessing if you're kind of feeling ill, all the flashing lights that they had wouldn't have helped matters very much.
Flashing lights didn't help.
The reverby David Croft.
Did not help.
No.
No, they did give us all earplugs because they said it was going to be noisy.
Yeah.
Which I didn't put mine in, and it just proves how much I've ruined my hearing from God knows how many years of live music.
I think if you used to go into a gig, it was no louder than a gig.
Yeah. Who was the presenter? The lady who was doing it? Because I didn't recognise her.
No idea.
No?
No.
Just fair enough. I didn't recognise her. I didn't know if any of you guys were introduced to her at any point during the...
No.
No, we didn't see her during the press conferences. She wasn't hosting the press conferences.
So she wasn't there for the whole time. She was just there for the media launch.
Just to host the car reveal.
Well, fair enough. So it was a fairly impressive car reveal.
It was pretty cool. I enjoyed it.
It was. I was up on the photo gantry with all the real cameramen. I was actually fighting for space with Sky's camera on one side and Italian TV on the other side of me, their TV cameras. And I'm there with my bottom of the range Canon DSLR. And I'm thinking,
Probably being sneered at.
yeah, I'm thinking, I'm looking complete amateur hour here. Oh yeah, that's because I am.
One of those feelings of, wait, I shouldn't probably be here.
That's what I was thinking the whole time. But the thing was, I couldn't really say anything because Felix, who is head of media relations for Mercedes, clocked me coming into the garage while they were doing the reveal and tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Paul, go up on the gantry with the photographers." And I'm thinking, don't you mean with the real photographers?
No, but in all honesty, I know it felt like, it's a first sort of car launch that you guys have been to. But, I mean, you did a great job getting all the stuff that you managed to get. I've seen some of the photos already, and you posted some on Facebook, and a few surprises coming up later on in this podcast.
Yeah, and I've got about 300 images to work through that I took from various cameras that I had with me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put a gallery up on the website, and we'll send a link out through social media. I'll probably put it on the webpage for this podcast as well.
Yeah.
I've got a busy day tomorrow.
Yeah.
Editing audio and video. In fact, now is probably as good a time as any because I'm put a package together for the best bits of the press conferences, because we've got the highlights from Toto, Lewis, and Valtteri Bottas.
Oh, amazing! So let's have a listen.
So
Listen to
have
that.
have a listen to that, and then we'll talk about some testing.
Absolutely.
And that wasn't a jump cut, really. So the Mercedes press conference. First thing that everybody wanted to know was, after the description of the behaviour of the 2017 car, was this season's car going to be as much of a diva?
We hope that we keep the good character traits of the diva. We all like divas, but sometimes she was a bit difficult to understand, and this is the area where we work the most, trying to understand and preserve what we have in terms of speed in the car, and equally find more drivability.
It's too early to say, but at least on those few laps I did, it wasn't. So, but it was working last year in Silverstone as well. So, but yeah, I mean, the first few laps in these kind of conditions with the wet tires, it's so difficult to draw any conclusions. But what was positive, that everything was working well. Nothing felt strange. Everything was working as it should. Car wasn't doing anything funny. It was responding to everything, so that's a start.
With Valtteri Bottas coming into his second season with the team, there was a lot of interest in what input he had in the 2018 car, with him only joining the team after the 2017 car was completed. So would this season's car be more of a match for his driving style?
Yes, for sure. It's automatic that if you are part of the lineup, that whatever you say is gonna be listened to from the engineers, and it's gonna find its way into the car.
I think personally, for me, starting second year with this team, it's definitely, my chances are much better to be performing every single race weekend on the level that I should. And unlike last year, there was many race weekends I wasn't on the level I should have been and wanted to be. And so yeah, it's definitely alongside Lewis again, with everything I learned last year. It's going to be interesting season ahead, and I feel I have better chances this year than last year.
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, naturally, Valtteri came into a brand new team, a brand new car. It was learning it from scratch. This is an evolution of last year's car, so it will handle and fit. The ergonomics are all the same. With the cockpit, he will be sitting in the same. It's the same seat from last year, so same controls. So there's none of that learning that he's going to need to do there. So for sure, immediately that means he's already more comfortable, and it's a car that we've both pushed and developed through the year last year. So what we see today is an evolution of both of our driving DNA fused into one, and yeah, I mean, I hope that he's more comfortable in it today. That can only bode well for the team. It's definitely not moved any away from me. I'm very, very close to my engineers, and I'm very much on top of that. So yeah, it's going to be a challenge, and the car's obviously going to be quicker this year, so it'll be interesting to see how we get on with it.
With both drivers entering the last season of their contract for 2018, there was a lot of interest in when the new negotiations are going to start. Are they going to be signed up long term? Is Lewis actually going to sign his new deal before Melbourne? When's Bottas going to sign his? Here's what they had to say on that.
Me and Toto have been talking for a while. I mean, obviously, once I left in December, I was away. And it's not something I particularly like to do over the phone. And I didn't get back until February. So I was away during that time, but we spoke very often. And we spoke about, we're constantly talking to each other, how we are committed to each other. So Toto knows that I know that there's no one better, so he's not going to be looking anywhere else. And he knows that I know there's no one else better, so I'm not looking anywhere else. And so we're comfortable and we're committed to each other. It's just about always just talking out the details, always. And I think hopefully we'll have something done before the beginning of the season, before the start of the first race. But again, we're just in no rush. There's just no reason to rush anything. There's no panic. I'm not feeling under any pressure of any other drivers being in there, and Toto has no reason to feel, and Mercedes have no reason to feel that I'm just talking to anybody else. In the whole 6 years that I've been here, I've not spoken to another team once, and I think that really shows my commitment. And I know that the team have been contacted by other drivers in the past, and probably still do today, and that's inevitable. But we always made it clear at the beginning that if I was to engage and look at my options, I would inform him, and I've not needed to because I haven't.
I think that's normally a good target. Before summer break or during or a bit after. That's normally when you always hope that you know what the future will hold for you. But I will go to the beginning of the year without thinking any of that. I'll be just thinking on performing on track and trying to make most of our new car every single race weekend.
With Lewis now being a four-time world champion, a few journalists wanted to know, does he still have the hunger to go out and defend his title? Well, this is the first time I've seen the car put together, and I was just been saying just standing reminiscing with Aldo, just that this is my 6th season with the team, and it's kind of crazy to think that it's been that long, but also seeing the development of the car each year. This is the most exciting part of the year, obviously, till this point, to see the whole car come together. I have seen the development of the car for the last 8 months or so, and then just to see all the pieces come together, and it's a work of art, and it is really just incredible to see. I'm always in awe of the team, because there's so many people obviously in the team, so many moving parts, and to see them all come together and bring their genius, and then all of that just it piles into this beautifully sculpted car is amazing. And then there's only 2 of us that get to drive it, in the whole year. So it's such a unique privilege to have. And I just walked into the garage now and they took the cover off, and I'm just staring at it. And I'm just like, how did they do that? There's all these components that they, if they've got 2 dampers on one part, they would have redesigned it to make it one this year so it's lighter. Just how everything evolves is quite phenomenal to see the technology move at the pace that it does. And and then I'm just excited to get out in it.
For me, Lewis Hamilton is the impersonalization of hunger. All these years we have been together, it's the 6th year, he's extremely motivated and coming back after the winter break. And I don't think that lack of motivation, hunger, or any sorts of complacency is an issue for him. On the contrary, he's eager to get back in the car.
Back to the 2018 season, and Toto was asked who would be the main rivals for this year.
If you would have asked us the question last year, we would have said Red Bull will be the main contender, and as it happened to be, it was Ferrari. So I think it's very dangerous before the season has started to reduce the number of potential competitors to 1 or 2 teams. You need to take everybody serious. and Ferrari was very strong, Red Bull was very strong. I'm curious to see how McLaren is going to perform with the Renault engine. The step up of the works team, of Renault, the works team itself, will be interesting to see. Williams has gone quite radical. So I think you need to keep the mindset and taking everybody serious at that stage.
Now, obviously, you can't have a Formula One press conference without the subject of Lewis Hamilton's life outside the car and his social media coming up. And it would be no surprise that there were questions asked about those.
Yeah, I think it's. Well, I think in life it's always a challenge psychologically. I think for all of us in whatever jobs we're in, as we've all got things, hurdles that we come across, and I'm constantly showed that it's not how you fall, it's how you get up. We've got Billy Munger here, for example, who had a horrifying incident, and he's racing Formula 3 this year. So anything is possible. You can overcome anything. So yeah, that's kind of the mindset I have. So it's not that it's easy to overcome it, but I know that there's always light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know, I think I've been racing such a long time. When it comes to getting in the car, it's very easy to kind of put on the shield guards, whatever the horses have on them, and focus on what you do. I guess when you put that helmet on, you enter into a different zone. And I'm just trying to make sure I'm living my best life every day. That's the slogan, I'm living my best life. And no one can live my life the way I live it, because it's my life, and we all live it in our own ways. We all handle the different scenarios in our own ways. We're all on a different journey, but ultimately our journey is determined by how much you put into it. And I'm here to win. I'm here to better myself, to grow. And so I always end up coming back to a positive mindset. And also I have a lot of positive people around me. You know, I don't surround myself with negativity or negative individuals who suck my energy. All the people that are with me, my friends, they're generally very positive lights, and only make my light brighter. They don't share it with me,
No, I think there is so much crap going on in the social media. What's big today has no relevance tomorrow. The best thing is to entertain yourself and ignore the haters.
With Valtteri Bottas starting his second season with the team, he was asked quite a bit on are there any new pressures this year, and what are the team's expectations of him?
Yeah, for sure. I think you being now not kind of a rookie in this team, for sure the team is expecting more from me, so am I. I'm aiming for a better season than last year, and for sure the team is hoping me performing better also this season, so that's for sure.
Valtteri was drafted in very late last season, came into a team that was capable of winning races and with the best modern Formula One driver as a teammate. And he had some very exceptional, positive, good performances during the year. And then after the summer, he kind of couldn't put it together in the way he expected it from himself. And then towards the end of the season, he was very good again. So I think he will have gone back over the winter, collected, analyzed a lot of data, and thought about things. And it's mainly the tires, how you drive the car with the tires, to optimize the tires. And I expect him to come back very strong.
I think last year, going into the season, there was more pressure than now. Still, I have all the targets ahead of me, and I'm really hungry for more wins and success. So definitely less pressure than last year.
On the subject of pressure and tension, Lewis Hamilton got asked how the tensions between him and Sebastian Vettel would pan out this year.
Well, you would have to expect that it could be worse. Always expect for the worst, and hopefully it will be better. But this year, in the fact that it is going to be a closer season, we have no idea what we're going to face. But what I can say is last year was a positive year in respect of handling the different situations that I faced. And I think generally over the last few years, I've been not too bad at it. So I'll be even better this year. So it shouldn't be an issue either way. What's really focused for me is just making sure I'm performing at my best, because that's when hopefully if I am performing at my best, then there will be issues because they'll be upset about it. Honestly, I don't play mind games. I just drive faster. Simple.
And then we move on to the Halo. Does it make the car heavier? Is it harder to get in and out of the car? And what are the overall impressions?
It is more difficult, definitely, and it takes a bit more time. But by practice, you definitely will get better at it. And but yeah, it's okay. At least now it's the proper Halo, because previously we've been trying like a mock-up Halos, and you can't really lean on those or grab those. But this one is strong enough to grab it and get out from the car.
No, honestly, I think the team have done a great job to integrate it and make it look as nice as it can look. And it's a fact, something we've known for some time now that it was coming. And you just, I think honestly, it's the beginning of the season. I think after a few races, we'll forget that it's even there. And we'll look at the old cars and think that, you often look at the old car and you think it's so dated. So this is the new world right now, and I'm sure it's only the first step of evolution of development for this safety level. And but it is heavy. The cars are getting heavier. So then it's a big car, but it's streamlined as much as it can be.
But as far as the Halo goes, I think we've got to give the last words to Toto Wolff.
I'm not impressed with the whole thing. And if you give me a chainsaw, I would take it off. I think we need to look after the driver's safety, but what we have implemented is aesthetically not appealing. And we need to really tackle that and come up with a solution that simply looks better. It's a massive weight on the top of the car. You screw up the center of gravity massively with that thing. And as much as it's impressive to look at the statistic that you could put a bus on top, this is a Formula One car. Whether you put a bus on top or not.
So that was the Mercedes launch, but we also got to see the Ferrari one while we were in Silverstone because they showed it on the big screen.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So strange.
And you guys were saying before that you thought it was it was a poor connection at Silverstone because it kept cutting out.
Yeah.
No, that's how it was. That was actually from Ferrari's end.
Was it really that bad and that stuttering, the sound kept going?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had a pretty decent connection here, on the Isle of Man at home, and it was doing exactly the same for me. And I could tell, sometimes you can tell it's your end, sometimes you can tell it's their end. I could tell it was their end, when it all pixelated every now and again. And then Mark Janae, who, former F1 driver, who was presenting the launch, how many times did he say, now is the time to show you the car? Before he actually showed us the car.
I gave up counting at some.
Yeah, it was a good 15-20 minute launch before you saw the car.
It seemed to go on for ages. I didn't really listen to it, to be perfectly honest.
You were too busy being ill.
No, I was speaking to other people.
You were schmoozing.
I was schmoozing.
No, fair enough.
I just wanted to see the car. That's all I wanted to see.
Yeah. We do have a couple of thank yous actually to a few people from the Mercedes launch. Obviously, we got to talk to Craig Scarborough.
Yeah,
who is an all-round nice guy and will be coming on the show very soon.
Which is amazing news.
Thank you, Craig. What was the name of the guy from Autosport that we were talking to on the Autosport Young programme?
Yeah.
That guy. You should have prepared this.
Well, I was hoping.
No,
he. I didn't get his name. I was hoping you did.
I introduced you to him.
I know, and
you've got his name.
No, I haven't.
I instantly forgot it as soon after he told me.
You were being ill, and I was in the middle of kind of something. But massive thank you to Graham and Andrew from UK Motor Talk and First Take Media, who basically got us there.
Yeah,
I would say, because we didn't realise that it was going to be a half an hour walk from the accreditation office to the wing.
Yeah,
and of course we didn't have our driver there with us because they went.
Yeah. So that's how big Silverstone actually is then.
Yeah, well, we could see the wing very clearly and very closely from where we are, but you've got to go on a route round bits of the old circuit and bits of the club circuit as well.
Yeah. I'd have, if we had to walk that far, I'd have just given up and lived under bridge. Like, because I know there's
Isn't there
rabbits.
a museum there now?
I don't know. I know there's rabbits there, so I could feed myself with something.
We all remember when Eddie Irvine hit a hare.
Yes, I was there.
You
I
were.
was on the corner.
He
and saw
did
it.
that joke a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
But yeah,
It's not a joke, it's a statement.
we'll compromise a bit.
So basically, these guys took you under their wing.
Basically, Graham and Andrew took us under their wing in the wing.
and showed you the ropes and
Yeah, and provided us with the audio because we didn't manage to get full recordings of all the press conferences. Just for various reasons, like we didn't actually know that there'd be anything for us to plug the recorder into
Yeah.
because we are completely inexperienced at these. We know for next time, but they do a podcast called UK Motor Talk, which give that a listen. And they do loads of motoring videos. And they're just basically all-round great guys.
Yeah.
I think we bigged them up enough.
Yeah, they
Because
were.
they really did help us. So, onto the other car launches and what we think of them.
Yep. So last week we only had pictures of the Red Bull in its test livery.
Which looks better than the real thing, because guess what? Red Bull have gone for this year.
They've gone for the last year's race livery, essentially, just slightly
Only with
darker.
Aston Martin across the rear wing.
Yeah, but it's slightly dark. I think the blue is a little bit darker, or that might be because it was
No,
cloudy.
they've said they've gone for the exact same paint as last time with the matte finish again, but it's still blue and yellow
Yeah.
in the same places that it's been since they started.
Pretty much. Well, they have changed their paint scheme a little bit over the years, but yeah, we had the Red Bull in its test livery, which looked amazing. The digital camera thing, which we spoke about last week. We had the Haas, which looked quite bland and had similarities to last year's Ferrari, especially in the nose. And we saw an image of the Williams, didn't we, as well? We thought that Williams were going to be the first to break cover, but it was actually Haas the day before.
Although I think the Williams pictures that they showed at their launch were actually pictures of a car rather than pictures of a render of a car.
Which we debated last week.
That was another thing. I'm not dropping names here, but Craig Scarborough was saying when he went to the Williams launch, it was in this little sort of warehouse presentation area.
He said they were renders, didn't he? He said they were because we had the conversation about renders.
But he was wondering how the hell they were going to get the car in because there was only a single door for everybody to walk through, and there wasn't actually a back door industrial entrance or anything. And then the screen dropped, and so did the penny.
Yeah.
Got you.
No, I thought the Williams. I missed him saying that he thought the Williams were.
Yeah,
because I thought that was a real thing.
Because I think it was only today that Williams, before the test, put some actual pictures of the car out. And
It was yesterday. Robert Kubica
Was it yesterday, was
Robert
it?
Kubica had a little bit of a filming time at Barcelona before the first test.
I think that was essentially like the car unveiling almost, you know, where you actually saw something that wasn't part of the fucking computer game.
So yeah, I mean, we spoke about them a little bit last week because we already saw them. But then the day we released last week's podcast, Sauber and Renault released their cars as well. Sauber, the livery looks pretty much exactly the same as they teased earlier on in way back 2017 when they announced that the Alfa Romeo thing.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, it looks. I think it looks quite smart.
Yeah.
Actually looked cooler going out for the first lap of testing this morning with the green Flovis paint, and it made it look more Italian.
Like a sideways Italian flag.
Pretty much, yeah. Red, white, and green.
No, that would be quite impressive, actually. Yeah, I hope we see a few more sponsors creeping onto that Alfa Romeo Sauber. Hopefully, they've pushed up the grid a bit further. We can't tell. It's first day of
not
testing.
really.
One interesting thing I did notice, and I know what it's for now, but I sent pictures to you of the air inlet just above the Alfa Romeo badge, sort of where the shark fin was. And that is actually to keep the turbo wastegate cool. But I haven't seen any other car running anything like that with like an air inlet above the
It's weird.
where the shark fin was.
There is a rumour this year that the Sauber might actually be able to go fast enough to make use of aerodynamics.
But they have got a current year Ferrari engine, and that's what sort of gave away the fact that Ferrari might have a long wheelbase. Was because when Sauber released their car, it had a slightly longer wheelbase. Not quite as Mercedes.
And the Alfa Romeo money has actually let them buy a file just to get the corners off the Lego bricks that the car's built out of.
I wonder if that's just a packaging issue.
No, I think they've done it on purpose to sort of to go in with Mercedes, because Mercedes went long wheelbase last year.
No. I mean, Sauber having the extra air inlet. I wonder if that's a packaging issue with the new Ferrari engine.
Possibly, I don't know.
Could well be, because I mean the Ferrari itself is going to have been developed completely around the engine.
Yeah,
it could have been.
clues in the name, folks.
It could be. They're not that awkward. Oh, I don't know actually. So their cooling system will be designed around there, and it's going to require a certain amount of air intake.
And let's face it, they are Italian, so it not only will be developed for them, it'll be purposely difficult for other people.
Of course, yeah.
So Sauber are going to have to introduce air into the system in different ways if the whole balance of the car is based around X amount of air coming in through the front.
And in true Alfa Romeo style, I bet you that the button for the radio to speak to the pits is like down by the seat somewhere.
Oh, it's
Quarter of a millimetre away from the eject button.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
yeah, but it won't matter because it'll have rusted shut anyway.
Just going to say that.
But the that was the Sauber launch that we got, and then a few hours later, Renault launched, didn't they, on the same day, where they've gone. If we thought they looked like a banana last year, good God, they look like a bruised banana now. With it. If you look at the Renault side on, it looks like it's a black car with a little bit of a yellow highlight. But then you look at it from the front, it looks like it's a yellow car with some black highlight. It's very clever how they've done that. So that's that car.
So is it like a zebra? You don't know if it's black with white stripes or white with black stripes.
Yeah,
I think it's black with a yellow stripe, if you will, running right down the centre of the car.
It's so if they
like
both,
a bee.
If they both get together on track, it's very difficult for other cars to attack them.
You're gonna have to put a giant pint glass over them, shuffle them out of the way.
So that's the Zeb Renault.
Yeah.
Of course, we missed saying about the McLaren one, which happened last Friday at a very convenient 7 a.m.
No, it didn't.
7:15 a.m.
Yeah. At 7, in true McLaren style, we're launching our car and we're going to post a picture of it at 7 o'clock on Friday morning. 7 o'clock Friday morning. Nothing. 7:01 Friday morning. McLaren website. We have a technical fault.
Yeah, Sean was on picture getting duty. She logged on to the McLaren Media Centre at 5 to 7, thinking I'll be one of the first in the queue, and then when I refresh, I've been here longer and I'll get the pictures just in case anything happens. Whole thing broke at 1 minute past 7. Nobody had pictures.
Yeah, and it was 16 minutes, I think, past 7 when they eventually got the pictures of.
But we did. We watched it on YouTube. I think it was about 10 past when they showed it. I really did have to set my alarm for 6 o'clock 3 days on the trot last week. That nearly killed me.
Yeah. Well, I'm up. Not that much after 6 o'clock anyway, usually.
I work from home. My alarm isn't set until 8:15.
Well, there you go.
In the evening.
Yeah. I should have done some work today. Time for podcast.
And your point being?
But
Any of my clients are listening? No, don't.
No, I really like the McLaren livery. We had a bit of a discussion, didn't we, about the back end being the size 0 back end. Dan thinks it looks a little bit wider from the top view, and I can see where Dan's coming from. But if you look at the side view, the way they've tucked that under, that's literally just to cover the exhaust.
Yeah.
The way they've tucked that in and under from the side pod, and you saw it today when Alonso had his little off. You could see just how much of a void of space there is going through to the back of that McLaren. They've really packaged that very tightly.
Or they're using the selfie filters on the front of their camera phone.
Maybe.
Oh yeah, possibly. Yeah.
I'm amazed how sleek the cars are this year. You know, when you see them face on, like last year,
they
this
look
year.
really aggressive.
Yeah.
When they did the 2017 thing, they wanted them to look aggressive. If you remember,
Yeah.
they've got that right this year. It's taken a year for them to go. Oh no, wait, hang on. This year the cars just look like that Mercedes. I was in awe of it, and I wasn't even stood right in front of it. Used to were.
Yeah. They look very busy. You know, like there's
Who drove the car, by the way, up to the
Valtteri.
It was Valtteri, yeah.
With
I saw
his
the guy
glasses on.
Yeah,
because I saw the guy put his hand out to as a stopping point. Saw him, but it was Valtteri, was it, who actually drove the car up?
He was on his filming laps.
So he drove the car back into the garage,
Yeah.
and then he basically turned it around from the garage and rolled it down towards you.
Yeah, he did it. When that car came in for the reveal,
Yeah.
that was the end of his 10-lap run,
Right. Okay.
which is probably why we were stood there for 15 fucking minutes.
Just while they were sort of prepping the car for a slow crawl.
Yeah, they were.
Although during that time, that was when I made an absolute fool of myself in front of Ted Kravitz.
Yeah, the funny thing was, like, I was filming on my phone, and I was stood there, and like 5 minutes went along, so I went back at my phone into the settings, deleted that picture because I was recording it in 4K as well at 60 frames a second, so I knew the files were going to be fucking massive on my phone. So I kept deleting stuff, and then in the end, I ended up missing the first part, like the video, and then I thought, oh shit, right, stuff's actually happening here. But we were down there for a long time.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, Mercedes were a little late with their launch.
Mm-hmm.
Ferrari were bang on time, but it was the most drawn out launch of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, McLaren had technical issues, and then we had the actual unveiling of Force India and Toro Rosso today. Toro Rosso, of course, having to release pictures of the car last week because somebody leaked a filming day that they were doing.
Mm.
Well, I mean, it's kind of your own
I
fault,
say
innit?
somebody leaked. I'm sorry, I think that was an inside job.
No, I don't think there's any point. There was no, they didn't gain anything.
The livery is very similar to last year's, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's
With Toro Rosso.
I mean, the thing is with Silverstone, there are actually areas that are just off the circuit where public have got full access to.
Is it?
Yeah. When we were watching Lewis do his filming laps last week,
Yeah.
I looked over the other side of the circuit, and people were coming right up to the gates on the outside, and they could get cameras through.
All right. Well.
So it wasn't as though the whole Silverstone area was shrouded in mystery.
Well,
No,
I suppose it's a racing. It's a circuit, not a military base, is it?
what do you think of the Ferrari car, by the way?
I think it looks stunning.
It
the
looks
Ferrari
good.
It looks great. It looks aggressive.
Looks aggressive, and it looks kind of weird to say this in a form. It looks beautiful. They've given it that. They've given it that
The
sort
Italian,
of
the
drop
word
off
is stylish.
stylish.
Yeah, it's all the black
Passionate.
highlights. Yeah, there's black highlights on like
Yeah.
the underneath of the halo and some of the aero work. It looks great.
It's a slightly. It looks slightly bigger, the halo. I think on the Ferrari. I don't know why it looks
I think
bigger.
that it's because of the highlights.
Is it
Well, they're allowed some fairings on the Halo, aren't they?
20mm fairings? Yeah, which I think most of the teams have taken advantage of.
Well, did you see what the Sauber's done? The Sauber's got like turning vanes
Mm.
on the sides. It looks like it twists around.
Did you guys get close enough to the Mercedes W09 to have a look at the
W09 EQ Power Plus.
Yes,
to
to
give
have
it
a
its
look
full
to have a look at the weird slots on the inside of the rear wing end plates.
No, we didn't get that close to it.
They look interesting.
I shall have to check my pics because I did zoom in as much as I
Yeah,
could.
yeah.
And did you notice as well that the rear wing is slightly bowed like the old Benettons from the mid 90s?
Yep.
Yes. Yep. We did see that. What do we think to the new McLaren?
I really like the livery.
I wish it was all orange.
No, I quite like the blue highlights.
No, I don't hate them, but I really like the IndyCar.
It's very similar to the IndyCar.
Yeah, and I just
Very similar.
but that was all orange, wasn't it? The IndyCar.
Is it about as orange as the Formula One car is?
I don't. Yeah, but the wings I think were orange, weren't they?
Possibly. I
Yeah.
think I have flashes of blue on it still.
There was blue on it.
Was there? Oh, I can't remember now. But
Not
I do.
as much, I don't think.
I do like the car. I think
The front of the nose was blue, and
That was
there were
it, yeah.
blue trails up the side pods.
yeah.
Or there was in testing. I don't know if there were in the actual race.
But yeah, I really like the new McLaren. I think it's my
Oh, there was blue on it was on the inside of the barge boards.
yeah. It's for I don't know whether I can say it's my favourite livery because it's not really a livery. It's just orange. Do you
Well,
know what I mean?
it's this
So
classic.
Someone I know, someone we know, Andy Klukas, has said it looks a lot like the General Lee
It does a little
from
bit.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, it does a little bit. It's that's thrown me a little bit. That it's not my favourite livery either. I think the Renault is my favourite looking car, colour scheme wise.
Yeah, Ferrari's good. Yeah,
Sauber's good.
Sauber's good.
Be nice if we get to see it.
I think we because the Williams has been the same now for so long. I think we take that for granted.
But it's
that's
a good looking car, yeah.
Looking car.
Yeah. And especially if they keep and it doesn't look like they have looking at the pictures from today, but if they keep those black highlights up the side of the car.
Yeah.
But now it looks like that was just to throw
Just to hide stuff.
Yeah, hide aero stuff that teams aren't doing.
Maybe they hadn't even because it was just renders they see. Maybe they hadn't even like finished doing the car.
Maybe they just went into Microsoft Paint and blacked it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or buffering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Redacted. And the Force India looks like a giant bottle of Pepto-Bismol.
They've got the. I was unsure about the Pink Panthers when they first released the Pink Panthers, just after the first test, wasn't it, last year?
Yeah, because they launched it beige.
No, it was the same as the previous year's livery, wasn't it? It was grey and silver.
It was more beige.
And
I thought it was 2016 colours.
yeah, it was grey and silver, I think, to start with.
Yeah.
Maybe it looked that unimpressive at the start of last season, and all right, later it turned out not to be. But I just remember it as being beige because it was just dull.
But I was unimpressed when they went Pink Panthers to start with, but it grew on me. I was like, you know what? Actually,
I don't hate this car.
No.
I don't hate it.
But when you saw the Pink Panther, you saw the Pink Force India, instantly anybody, even somebody who's not even remotely interested in Formula One, recognizes it as the pink Formula One car.
Yeah.
You know, and
That Nico Rosberg?
And it worked, but what they've done with the 2018 livery, if this is to be their racing livery, is they've added white highlights to it, and the pink is now a block color instead of like having that sort of bubble effect to it for the water manufacturer, obviously. But it's lots of rumors about Force India wanting to change their name. It's too late now, isn't it?
Not if the other teams all okay it. It's one of these situations where the entry's been put in. And if a team wants to change at this late stage, then it's got to be agreed on by the other 9 teams.
I think it was.
Is that why their livery is pretty? But let's be honest, it's pretty basic.
No, I think it's just gone with the. That's just what they're doing with the sponsors. You never know. They might have worked out that having the bubbles on the car was heavier. You know, it wouldn't be the first time that liveries have changed because of weight.
Like Jordan.
Yeah, and Jaguar. So it might. I thought. As soon as I noticed that the car was like the VJ, whatever it is, I thought, well, it's not being called Force India this year. If they were,
the car's called VJM, isn't it? Again,
It's the VJM11. But did anyone notice that the words Force India didn't appear anywhere near their garage in testing today? They only they had the screens up, and all the other teams had the screens up with the team name. The only thing that it said on the screens outside the Force India was VJM11. Didn't actually have the...
So Sahara Force India, the actual thing.
Yeah, didn't have the team name. But Otmar Schnafneuer says there's a high probability that they will have a new name before the Australian Grand Prix.
And he was in a suit today. I did not recognise the man in the suit. I was like, who is the man in the suit stood next to the Force India? I had to look hard and realise it was Otmar Schnafneuer. He's normally wearing sort of shades and a team polo shirt, sometimes with headphones on as well.
Yeah.
No, he was a very finely coiffured man standing next to a car in a suit.
Was VJ Malia stood next to him with like a fake moustache, fake glasses, and a big fake nose?
No, we've taken all of them off because that's how everyone recognises him.
Oh right, okay.
So why is Groucho Marx there with a ponytail?
Yeah, he had no goatee beard and a sensible haircut. And who's the he?
Gotta say though, livery wise, overall it's a good grid, and you can tell all the cars apart.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was a few years when half the grid was grey.
Yeah, and silver. Yeah,
Grey or silver.
Now the only grey car I think I'm right in saying is the Haas.
And the silver Mercedes.
Not again.
Not again.
yeah, it's silver though, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
more than grey. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not the grey arrows.
No, exactly. It's more of a chrome colour paint.
Side note, I think the Haas looks quite nice.
I'm not sure. Not taken with it. It's at first release when those pictures showed it being quite predominantly grey. It looked like it was a nice sort of like matte grey.
Yeah.
Now I've seen it sort of just pictures of it going and videos of it leaving the garage and that. I'm like, it's not. It's almost white, but it's a little bit too grey to be white. But I can't tell. It's like they've almost tried to get the colour but got it wrong.
I like it, but I do think it looks like random Project Cars car.
Yeah, it's because it's so closely based. I think it is anyway. Personally, I think it's so closely based on last year's Ferrari that it's. And I don't know, they're not really supposed to do that anymore. But if you look at the nose of that Haas, it looks an awful lot like the 2017 Ferrari. Like head on. Look at it front on. You think, well, that's the 2017 Ferrari with Haas paint job on it.
Yeah.
it's underwhelming. I think I was expecting a little bit more from Haas. I wouldn't mind if they put the stars and stripes all over the car. To be quite honest with you,
Well, I said last week.
They have a real sponsor now. They actually have a sponsor that isn't Richard Mille, who just sponsors every Formula One team that doesn't have an official watch.
Yeah.
They are the official watch of everyone else. But they've now got another company's name. There's a clothing company, Jack and Jones, on the rear wing.
Oh, I saw that.
I
yeah.
did see that. Yeah.
And it's a clothing company I've heard of. I've even owned one of their shirts.
Well, there you go.
So they make clothes for old people, apparently.
I still think Haas is going to be one of those teams that all of a sudden it's sold. I'm convinced of it.
I can't see that happening, because I mean Haas as a racing organisation
Yeah.
are one of the most successful teams in Dukes of Hazzard racing.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean Days of Chunder.
Also, did we say something about Gene Haas stating that Formula One teams are coming to Haas about their technologies? You know, much like McLaren Technologies sells stuff to other Formula One teams for standardization, like
gearboxes,
gearboxes, steering wheels. Yeah, steering wheels, for example. Most of them are made by McLaren. There's only one that isn't there? Was it Force India?
Force India 3D printed theirs last year. They've not said what they've done this time around, but I'm assuming they've done the same thing.
Yeah, so stuff like that. But then because Haas provide so much to other teams in their other disciplines that they enter, they've been approached by Formula One teams to say, you guys do this in that sport. Any chance you'd be able to do something similar in Formula One?
Can we buy some vertical mounted milling machines from you?
Yeah, basically, well, that's what the car's named after, isn't it?
Yeah.
The vertical mounted milling machine.
Well, the very first vertical mounted milling machine.
The VF.
VF1.
Yeah. Yeah. So they've definitely got their feet under the table as far as being a team is concerned. They're scoring points more consistently than we thought they would when they announced their entry. And if they get into that groove of supplying other teams with things, much like Williams and McLaren do, then they become sort of like a staple part of the
ecosystem of Formula One.
Yeah, almost like the internal internal business part of Formula One.
I think we'll see Toro Rosso sold before Haas.
I think might happen and has been touted quite a lot is a Maserati tie-in with Haas. It was strongly rumoured around the time Alfa Romeo announced their tie-up with Sauber. If Ferrari are thinking of doing something stupid like ditching Formula One if they don't win this year and going off to start a rival series, they'll want more than one finger in the Formula One pie, if you will. They'll want, and if they can have Maserati, it was Maserati. Yeah, but isn't that not a Ferrari engine in the back of that? No, it's a Maserati. It's definitely a Maserati engine.
Look at the badge.
Yeah, exactly. Much like Tag Heuer, the watchmakers famously supplying Red Bull with their engine.
I can't see Ferrari pulling out for the foreseeable future, and I think one team that's definitely not pulling out, as we've definitely experienced, is Mercedes. Because all those rumours, Eddie Jordan I don't know what he was on that week. Stronger than normal wig glue, and I think he tried to sniff it too hard.
Well, I think somebody may have found out who Eddie Jordan's informant was and deliberately fed him wrong news, and then when he heard Eddie Jordan spout, and they went, right, know who it is, guys.
Yeah, less chance of pulling out than a drunken rock star.
Moving swiftly on, unless you're Sergei Sorokin. First day of testing. I think there's been some mixed results.
Can I just say, before we go any further, we say this every year. This is now our third year of covering first tests.
Yes.
That you can't tell too much from the first day of testing.
Yes, we can. Daniel Ricciardo's going to win the World Championship.
Sergei Sorokin is rubbish.
I don't know, because
there's no solid information from today, but we're going to speculate wildly.
Yeah,
it's conjecture more than speculation.
This is our annual speculation. I mean, this is our fourth season that we're just coming into.
This is our weekly speculation.
Yeah, that's true, actually. It's our fourth season of testing.
Fourth. Okay.
Although I don't know if the testing show from the 2015 season actually made it out, because that could have been one of the unusable pilots.
Probably was.
The pilot that crashed. But no, you've been able to tell for the last 3 seasons that McLaren Honda were going to struggle. There was not electrocuted.
Yeah.
2016, they were thoroughly uninspiring.
And didn't do many laps.
And 2017, I think Nando only managed something like 7 laps in the first day.
Wasn't that gearbox vibration day?
It was gearbox vibration day. The engine's a dog, couldn't get up to speed. The car was dangerous, and where the hell's the back end going?
Yeah.
I've got 29 laps for the McLaren team on the first day in 2017.
29 laps in 2017.
2017.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So it was more than I thought, but it was still
not many. I've done some research.
Dan's been researching.
We have actual stat, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen notes before.
I'm not even left-handed googling this, guys.
That's a strange.
He's right-handed writing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no left-handed googling going on here. So McLaren, am I right in saying they did 51 laps today?
That's correct, yeah.
With a little bit of a break in the morning because of the wheel nut or brake
Thing is, that
wheel
was
retaining issue.
okay.
Wheel retention, yeah.
Right.
Well, they didn't retain the wheel. 3 of them stayed attached to the car and went one way. The 4th one went another.
But that was 6 laps into the run. If it was dodgy to start with, would not necessarily have gone quite early like we usually see when people don't put it on right at pit stops.
I don't think it was to do with fitting the wheel properly. I think that was just a genuine part failure.
Yeah. Well, parts do fail. It's always going to happen in every kind of business that you're in. Not necessarily even automotive industry or Formula One.
Yeah.
Yes,
anything, you always get
Formula
parts
One
fail.
Test the fuck out of things.
Chris,
So that you don't get them failing.
how many gigs have you done where you've broken a string in the first song?
Not very many.
But some.
Probably 1 or 2.
There you go. You see, it happens.
Yeah.
Actually, no. In this case, how many gigs have you done where you've broken a string in the sound check?
But don't think I've ever broken a string sound
I
checking.
thought you were going to say you've never done a sound check.
The first song's sound check, isn't it?
But I think that was just a genuine part failure.
Hope so.
Rather than an issue with the whole car.
I think if it had been like a genuine issue with either the wheel or the wheel nut or the how they're fucking tightening them or something like that, he wouldn't have gone out again.
Yeah.
I think that's they wouldn't have sent Fernando Alonso out again, and if they thought there was even the slightest chance his fucking wheel would come off. Would have been Lando. Do you fancy going in the car?
Yeah. Do you want to go, Lando? Lando was there, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was there, and he was saying how it was very, very cold in Spain, which is they might get snow later this week.
Well, that's
Snowing now.
we're not in Spain.
No, I'm just saying in Spain it was snowing when we started the podcast.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it's looking like the testing schedule could actually be mixed about this week with, as things stand tonight, so by tomorrow it'll be completely different. Mm-hmm. Or by the time you listen to this, it'll be incredibly different. Wednesday being cancelled and possibly next week being a 5-day test from Monday to Friday rather than Tuesday to Friday as it's meant to be at the moment. Because they can't run late because Ferrari and Williams have got the circuit Friday and Saturday. Can't remember which way around it is, but they've booked the circuit for filming days.
Yeah.
So, and as we all know, Spain shuts down on a Sunday. Mm-hmm. So it could be Monday, an early start on the 5-day test next week and a 3-day test this week. Mm-hmm. But Alonso claims, or he reckons, that at least 6 of the teams had problems. Which, I guess with the first day of running at anything close to full speed, you're going to get.
I'm surprised there was no breakdowns. Not like proper engine blow-ups
kabooms.
and stuff. Yeah.
You don't really know who was running, sort of what kind of power do we? I mean, you've already stated about Renault saying that they were going to run 2017 power-ish.
I don't believe that for a fucking second.
No, but I mean, there's looking up and down the list, there's no bad... Right, other teams might have had problems, but there's no real bad news for anyone, is there?
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say yes, there is.
Go.
And he's got stats to prove it.
2016, Mercedes turned up.
147 laps, wasn't it?
Something ridiculous like that. 2017, they did 152 laps on the first day. This year they did 83.
But what's the breakdown between Bottas in the morning when the weather was better and Hamilton in the afternoon when it was starting to get cold?
Bottas was still nowhere near the top.
Hulkenberg
lap.
was running quite high up, wasn't he, for most of the
I
day?
think Hulk did something like 73 this morning, and then Bottas was
50 something, wasn't he? 60 something.
Hamilton did 25 this afternoon. So, yeah, for Mercedes to have done 80,
58.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got Bottas 58, Hamilton 25. But yeah, Hulkenberg 73 and Sainz 26. Sainz again running in the afternoon session, which kind of shows that you couldn't really do a great deal this afternoon because, I mean, the track temperature was down to 9 degrees at one point, and everyone was complaining of absolutely no grip. Williams practically gave up and just said to Sorokin, don't take it out of third.
I think the Renaults are in quite a good place. The Renault engine cars.
Yeah, including the Works team and
Because-
Red Bull.
Yeah, in terms of not just the number of laps they put in, nothing about times. The Red Bulls between them put in 105 laps today.
Wasn't that just Danny Rick by himself?
That was, yes. And that was the most out of anyone, and he put in the fastest lap out of anyone.
Yeah.
Both Renault drivers went out. Between them, they did 99 laps, and that was the second most out of anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And then after them...
Hang on a second. What, you're saying Red Bull did how many?
105.
Who did the other 20? So we've got Ricciardo doing 85, and...
Was that in the morning?
I thought that was all day.
I think you're just looking at the morning there.
105 laps is what I remember seeing Danny Rick do.
Hang on, that was earlier days.
Sorry, I've just hit my microphone. I do apologise.
Sorry, my mistake. I was looking at the wrong screen.
So yeah, who was behind? You got the Red Bulls or the Red Bull, then Renault.
Then two Renaults.
Yeah.
And then Brendan Hartley.
In the Honda.
In the Toro Rosso Honda.
Yeah, Honda powered.
Honda Rosso. Yeah, he did. What's that?
Did 93 laps.
93 laps, which I think is more than a single Honda engine managed without blowing up in the entirety of 2017.
Yeah, and 2016. Probably not combined, but yeah.
Honda appear to have found the reliability settings.
So last
Or
year,
Honda are working better with Toro Rosso than they did with McLaren.
I think there's a bit of one and a bit of the other. The partnership between Toro Rosso and Honda is a lot less dysfunctional than the one between McLaren and Honda was.
Yeah, I think maybe they just work better together. I'm pleased for Honda that they're not.
Well, let's not forget that the engine was coming together by the end of last year.
Yeah.
It's...
Yeah, I'm pleased for Honda that they're not brought an absolute dog again for Toro Rosso. You know, it would have been so heartbreaking for Toro Rosso had they gone out in that Honda
and just boom, boom.
Yeah.
It looks like a fucking firework display.
Yeah.
What was it for McLaren last year? 3 engines in the first 2 days of tests?
Something like that. Yeah.
Well, this is, 3 engines for the season, is it this year?
Yep.
Yeah.
So they've all got to find some fucking reliability, really. You know, apart from Mercedes, who were fucking bulletproof last year.
Which is why I think, you know, it's difficult to tell from the running of this first day. Sort of, you know, I think reliability is now more of an issue than it ever was, purely because of the 3 power units thing. So, Mercedes might have turned up and done 150 something laps on last year's test, but this year the weather maybe didn't lend itself to it, and also I think the programming will have changed dramatically.
Yeah.
Dropping from 4 to 3, you really got to know your reliability of your engine without pushing it too far.
Well, I think we might get...
But these engines don't count towards the ones for the season.
No.
So this is where you want to be doing lap after lap after lap after
I was
lap.
just going to say that, but because I think...
That's a good point.
If you look at this first test as a test to see what's working and stuff, I wouldn't mind betting that the second test ends up... We'll be able to get a lot more than we usually would through testing, because they're going to want to turn the engines up and run them as long as they can until they pop. So we might end up getting a lot of racing laps. in testing
Quite
from them.
possibly, yeah.
I'm just looking at last year's Spanish Grand Prix stats
Yeah.
and fastest laps for
Approximately 1:14 was it the fastest lap?
fastest lap last year was actually Lewis Hamilton, 1:23.593.
Oh, there you go. So people are going quite quick already then.
So we've had faster times than race pace last year. Qualifying was 1:19, I think was 1:19.149 was pole.
Remembering, of course, that the track's been resurfaced.
Yeah. But we're looking at times set in the first testing session that are actually quicker than fastest lap times from last year. So it's obviously proved that the teams that were outrunning today were able to turn the wick up.
Well, don't forget, that would pretty much mean that Ricciardo, Bottas,
Raikkonen.
Kimi, Hulkenberg, down to Hulkenberg, down to fourth, were technically quicker than last year's pole time because that was their fastest time.
No, last year's pole time was 1:19, fastest race lap.
Yeah, but
was
technically-
1:23.
No, but technically, because they were all set on the medium tyre, which is going to be a second delta, you'd have thought, from the
Super
from the
Soft.
super
Possibly,
softs.
yeah.
So
I mean, obviously, there's like the standard evolution where cars do go faster every year until they change the formula completely.
no, but to be going
But-
quicker than the fastest qualifying time, there or thereabouts. You know, if you like allow for tyre difference, that's pretty fucking rapid, isn't it?
It's
It's an improvement, and more so, it's an improvement for, as Dan was saying, the Renault-powered teams.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't. What was Alonso's fastest lap in the other Renault-powered car? 1:21.
1:21.339.
Yeah, he did that on super softs, though, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, tough to call, but McLaren might have still a few more problems lingering that they may need to iron out before they start performing.
I made a bold prediction yesterday, so before we saw any testing, that McLaren wouldn't come as good as lots of people were predicting. I'm standing by that.
It's early season perhaps, but I think they'll find it easier to develop the car with the Renault engine than they would, Renault power unit, than they would, or they were finding with the Honda.
Yeah, tellingly, Alonso was the only driver to set their fastest time on the Supers.
Yeah.
This is how much things have progressed. Ericsson had a fastest lap today that was faster than the fastest lap in the race last year.
Marcus Ericsson.
Yeah.
Sat on the soft tyre, his fastest lap.
Yeah. But
I still think
that certainly proves that Sauber have got an actual package.
Well, they've got this year's Ferrari engine for a start. I mean, don't forget that last year they were running the previous year to that Ferrari engine.
Yeah, but
and it was a ridiculous percentage down on power, something like 2% down on power, which on power is a lot.
But the thing is, it was probably a bad car as well. I don't think.
Probably was.
I don't think the car helps. I think the whole Sauber setup has come together. Fred Vasseur is working miracles there.
Well, he's had to, including cancelling the Honda contract on his first day.
I'll tell you what, if he does launch his own brand of turd polish, I'm buying it.
Fred Vasseur, turd polish. Nice.
Yeah, I think we'll get a better read of where McLaren are tomorrow, won't we?
When they've done a day of running.
Yeah, because I mean, we don't even know whether that car was damaged. I know obviously it was damaged. The fucking wheel came off. But as it went through the gravel, we don't know if the car was damaged.
The floor was scraped.
If they ripped up the floor, if they had to change more than the entire corner with the wheel on, if there was other parts of it that had taken a knock as well.
And it might have been a case of we either fix the car and fuck off practice, or the second part of testing, or
get as much running in as we can.
Yeah. Get the gaffer tape out and run at 95%.
Yeah, Fernando, go out and do some laps. You won't have the full performance because there are parts missing, but just go out and do what you can.
Yeah.
Oh, I am used to this.
The return of sad Fernando.
We just want one bad McLaren race, just so we can have another sad Fernando this season.
Everybody enjoys sad Fernando, don't they?
Apart from Fernando.
Except Fernando.
I don't forget we might be able to have ecstatic Fernando.
Yeah. I
during the
think
race.
ecstatic Fernando might become a thing.
That's basically Davide Valsecchi.
It is, yeah.
I'm going to have to find some suitably happy music for that.
I reckon you go with the Mardi Gras music. Dan's just come back from there, but the McLaren may have problems of their own that they weren't able to identify when they were running the Honda power unit because they were too busy blaming the Honda power unit.
Yeah.
So that might take them a little while to sort out.
Spent all last year rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic, only to find out this season somebody's stolen the deck.
No, Alonso took them all and he's gone on holiday with them. But we'll know more when we've got a full day worth of running. I mean, you might be listening to this podcast now, and it's the end of the first test. And
In fact, you probably are listening to this podcast now.
I've got a vague idea that by the time people listen to this, at least the vast majority, if not all of the second day, will have happened.
All of the second day will have happened, but then all of the first test might have finished by the time this person is listening to this podcast.
I thought you were going to say by the time this goes out. I'm going to try and get this one out on time.
No. I believe you, but the remainder of the test might prove otherwise. Might prove that McLaren is a decent car. It may.
It's not going to prove anything.
It's a test. But again, conjecture and speculation
is what we do best.
Yeah. And that's all we can do at the moment. And that's exactly what we're doing.
Well, that's drawn a line under that in no uncertain terms. Yeah, okay, I'll get.
Well, pretty much. I was going to say that we'll see how the rest of the test pans out, but then Dan shot me down.
I mean, with the threatened Snowmageddon, copyright Daily Express. Are we going to get the rest of the test anyway? We could be speculating on something that might not happen.
I mean, it might be snowing here, like right now, like outside, but we don't know because
the curtains are shut.
Yeah,
because we don't know when you're listening to the podcast or where you're listening to it.
It's not snowing here, but as at time of recording, it is snowing in Barcelona.
Yeah.
Wow.
So God knows what could happen.
Have you ever had a cancelled Formula One race because of snow?
No, but we nearly did the British Grand
Prix. Sean.
Yeah. You have to wait a couple of weeks until Sean's on. You can check that with him. British Grand Prix nearly did get delayed because of snow when they had the great idea to hold it in April.
That was rain more than anything, wasn't it? That's where you were at that one, weren't you, Lee?
I can't remember.
They held the British Grand Prix early, and the car park was basically a quagmire.
Yeah.
And there was a guy with a Land Rover who couldn't drive his Land Rover.
I do remember threats of snow.
I was watching that race in Bradford, and it was snowing in Bradford that day.
I remember it being fucking cold.
Yeah, too early to run the British Grand Prix. You can't run it in April.
That was the year that Hakkinen did that amazing save because he actually did a full pirouette on the grass and then managed to get it straight and rejoin the track. I think. Just lost it on the hanger straight.
Oh wow! I can't remember. My memory isn't good enough to remember things like that.
Was that the year Michael Schumacher broke his leg, or the year after? I think it was the year after Schumacher broke his leg.
What year did you say that? Was it 2008? Michael broke his leg.
No. Go back. 99, I think it was.
99.
Oh, it was not.
It was the year. It was the year before. I think it was the 98 one that was.
This is why I'm getting the 8 involved.
It was a summer one where he broke his leg.
Summer race where he broke his leg.
Yeah.
Was it 97?
No, he didn't break his leg in 97. Because he was still in with the championship by the last race.
Yeah, of course he was.
It was 99 because Eddie Irvine nearly won the 99 championship.
Yeah.
And then, thanks to Ferrari, he didn't. But yeah, the holding the British Grand Prix in April.
They'd fucking cut the nutsack off for that championship now, wouldn't they?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Sergio Marchioni was saying something about it being
Actually, it was later than that. It was 2000 when they had
I thought it was.
The April race, and it was it was 99 when he broke his leg.
Yeah.
Do you know what? The fact that when you've been to enough Formula One races that you get confused by it, that's a good problem to have.
It is, absolutely. Yeah, it's too early to hold a Grand Prix like that in Western Europe, Northern Europe, wherever you want to want to say the UK is. You can't hold a race You can't hold a major sporting event in the UK in April.
Which is why the Brazilian Grand Prix changed times
Yeah,
because
to
of
the back end of the season.
And that's really helped with the number of wet races. Oh.
No, but it's manageable wet races most of the time, isn't it? Barring the 2016 race. Which
Except for the one that wasn't.
Yeah, which was incredible. I mean, if you look at the 2018 calendar, you've got Baku. It's the fourth race of the season. You've got Australia, China, Bahrain, and then it's Baku.
Yeah, but that's mainly for travel logistics now.
I think so, yeah, but I mean...
I don't think Azerbaijan has a sort of specifically wet time of the year with the climate that they've got.
No, but it's a race that's moved from one end of the calendar to the other, and I think Russia used to be at the beginning of the calendar, or was at the end of the calendar, got moved to the front of the calendar, and is now this year back at the back end of the calendar again, I believe.
My head hurts.
Yeah. Well, Russia was like the fourth race, wasn't it, in 2017? Something like that.
Yeah.
And now it's like the 14th race
Yeah,
again. You know, it's
16th.
16th race. It's late again.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know.
Yeah,
Races.
It was definitely before Spain, the year that Danny Kvyat got.
Yes, it
got
was.
Kvyat.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Max Verstappen won, of course.
Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah, as we call the Verstappening.
Yeah. So now that Danny Kvyat's been full-time fired, does that mean that Verstappen's going to win every race in 2018?
Almost guaranteed. Get your betting on.
It's either going to be every race or no races because Kvyat can't be fired any more than he has been.
Well, he's at Ferrari. He's a development driver at Ferrari.
Personally, I like it when Max Verstappen wins races because we shoot up the podcast charts in Holland.
Because we like Max Verstappen,
Yeah.
and he usually wins when he wins races, he usually wins them completely on merit.
Yeah, and when Max Verstappen wins a race, Dutch F1 fans seem to like us.
I've got a theory about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, young people like Max Verstappen, and it's young people that listen to podcasts.
So that rules any of us out.
Yeah, well.
Other news. Talking of young people.
Young people, young drivers, perhaps.
Yeah. Williams' newest young... I'm sorry, I can't use the term young driver for Ollie Rowland when he's older than both their drivers.
Well, he's the official Williams young driver now. So Williams have basically taken every driver from Renault.
Yeah.
Yeah, apart from Latifi, who's gone to Force India.
Who's actually gone to hospital. Get well soon.
Oh, has he?
Yeah, he was in hospital with a serious infection, which is why he's not testing. He hopes to be back able to drive again within the next 4 weeks.
4 weeks?
Gosh.
Dear Lord. Get well soon,
Yeah.
Nicholas Latifi. That does not sound pleasant at all.
No, he tweeted this morning that the reason he's not at the test was, all he said was a serious infection that required him to be in hospital.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, he's been in a bit of a bad way. Also, while we're on the subject, get well soon, Kevin Smith.
Yeah,
Yes.
Kevin Smith suffering a heart attack, which is completely out of the blue for him and everyone else as well.
Am I stupid for not knowing who Kevin Smith is?
Clerks, Dogma, Jane Silent Bob. He is Silent Bob.
I'm still miles away.
You know
Okay.
Dogma, the film? We were
Yeah.
talking about it last week.
Yeah.
The fat guy with the beard that doesn't say
Oh,
anything.
yeah.
Who writes and directs them all. But Kevin Smith, heart attack, surprising. What, a massively overweight, middle-aged bloke that...
No, he lost loads of weight.
Did he?
Yeah, he lost
Oh,
loads
right.
of weight. Yeah, and he was getting ready for a stand-up show, and he felt kind of nauseous, had to go and throw up, and then cancelled the show, and then went to hospital as a precaution. And turned out, you've had a massive heart attack. If you didn't come to hospital now and didn't cancel that show, you would be dead.
Wow. Chalk that one up in the success category then.
Yeah.
Although, again, well enough to tweet.
Exactly. Yeah, well enough to tweet it like a day
Picture
or
of
two
him with
afterwards.
lots of tubes.
To be fair though, if you're not well enough to tweet, you're pretty sick.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. So no, get well soon, Nicholas Latifi. But yeah, the news that we've gone off on a tangent 3 times for already
Is not news.
No, Ollie Rowland. Ollie Rowland is Williams' young driver, which is bizarre because he is older than Sorokin and Stroll.
Yeah, but he's still a young man.
Combined.
Yeah, he's still young though. Is he 23?
I think so, something like that. Yeah, 22, 23.
I'm not prepared to not call somebody in their 20s young.
Did
not
Ollie
prepared
Rowland-
to do that.
Did Ollie Rowland say
He's,
that he was
he's 25, so he's actually old enough to advertise Martini.
There you go.
So he's old enough to manage Red Bull but not drive for them.
Did Ollie Rowland say that he was in contention for a seat somewhere, and then the team came back and said, "No, you're not"? Was that Renault? Or was it Williams that he said that about? And they came back.
Was it last year?
It was during the whole Kubica thing, and it was like, I've been talking to this team as well. I can't remember if it was Williams or if it was Renault. And then the team came out straight away and said, "No, you haven't. You're not in contention for the seat. Go away." Now, if that was Williams, that's quite telling, because then they was like, well, actually, maybe you're not that bad. We'll sign you up as a young driver.
Because we've got none of the drivers. Like, it's really bad over here.
Yeah. It was like Giovinazzi last year. It was definitely replacing Danny Kvyat at Toro Rosso.
And then wasn't.
And then seems to have been, I don't know, murdered and his body dissolved in a pit of Red Bull.
Yeah, because Charles Leclerc is Ferrari official reserve driver, isn't he, for this year?
Yeah.
So where's Antonio Giovinazzi gone?
I don't know. Maybe Williams. Maybe he's going to go Williams, because I can only imagine that phone call went something like, "Please come over here." Like, you could shake a big stick around in here and you wouldn't hit a Formula One driver. It's fucking terrible.
I'm just looking him up, and there is nothing to say where he's actually going to be driving or
gone
reserving.
to IndyCar or something like that.
Maybe, possibly. He was good enough to race a couple of Grand Prix for Sauber last year.
That'd be such a cool note to leave on your door.
Gone to IndyCar.
Be back.
Wednesday. Hold the milk, please.
No.
Ferrari tried to palm him off on Haas, and Haas said there was no room.
Oh dear.
That was in December, and
So Formula E then, we'll see Antonio Giovinazzi in some time.
yeah, he appears to have released a helmet design for this year, but I don't know what series he'll be racing in because the page is in Italian.
Maybe he's just a helmet designer now.
I see Sean Bull, who does a lot of the the fantasy liveries.
Renault.
No, he actually I don't know if did he design the Renault?
No, he works for them now.
No, he has now been taken on by Renault.
He actually designed Marcus Ericsson's helmet for this year, with the halo being in place for this year and covering a lot of the drivers' helmets up. It's a it's a lot more difficult to tell which driver is which. Yeah. So I don't know if anyone's noticed, but Alonso's gone for a retro Formula One style helmet design, which looks really cool, sort of in keeping with what he did for Indy and Daytona. Marcus Ericsson's the same. He's gone for something very bold and quite bright, just to sort of a bit more driver definition, if you will.
By the way, I'm guessing that Giovinazzi, looking at the new helmet design for 2018, is at Ferrari because he's got Kaspersky sponsorship on there and the Ferrari logo, and it's in a giant Italian flag.
Yeah, let's say that's...
finally, the translations worked on this site. Antonio Giovinazzi, Ferrari reserve driver.
There you go.
So he's probably behind Kvyat in the pecking order.
Yeah, Alonso is
ahead.
Alonso has always been one of these drivers that's kept a pretty similar helmet style, through his whole career.
Yeah.
Do you think he did the Indy 500 race and then, like, a few months later, he checked the royalty check for the amount of, like, replica helmets that's been sold for that, and he's like, "Oh my word, that's why Sebastian did it."
Yeah, probably. quite possibly.
Because it does seem weird that since then, like, now he's doing the WEC as well. But I can't help but think that if it wasn't for that IndyCar one and having a different helmet for that, he'd have probably just kept all with the same old helmet for everything.
Yeah, quite possibly. But I quite like his 2018 helmet design. If you haven't checked it out already, go and have a look at it. It's very good.
I still think his IndyCar helmet is one of the coolest helmets that ever.
Yeah, I do.
It's so good.
It's amazing. But anyway...
I'm talking of which, I'm just looking up to see if...
I was going to say more news. Have we got much more news?
No, that's probably...
I'll let the listeners insert their own
probably about it. I mean,
Alonso's helmet joke.
There's...
That's why I started talking about covering drivers' helmets before. I had a little giggle to myself. I couldn't help it, sorry.
Yeah, that's basically it. I think we've covered everything because everything seems to be happening at testing. So, Chris...
Well, I was trying to reach for the guitar, but it's too far away.
You've even had to take your headphones off.
Yeah, that happens.
I'm actually just looking on Formula Lee prize sponsors CM Helmets website. Just see how many Alonso helmets they've got. I don't think they've got the new one yet.
No, the 2018 one they won't have, but the They may have sold out of all the other.
Yeah,
helmets.
they won't have the 28T one till there's like a race to stick with it, will they?
Probably not.
No,
No.
so
They haven't had a good enough look at them yet. I wouldn't have thought.
I think I'm going to have to get one of these Fernando Alonso ones actually because they look incredibly cool. Right, Lee, you've got your laptop sorted.
Yep.
Chris, you've got your guitar.
Not really, but go on.
Sounded like really to me.
Total shunt, total shunt. Everybody, time for total shunt. F1 is back, winter's nearly gone, but it's snowing, it's so confusing. Look out, here comes a total shunt. Done it again.
Oh God,
Clunk, thump.
Yep.
you're in danger of losing your headphones as well.
Yeah, pretty much.
Tell you what, Napalm Death aren't the band they used to be, are they?
No, because Barney hasn't rejoined them yet.
Rubble.
Yeah.
Greenway.
This week's comes from Robert Higgins.
Ah, Robert, I think we've had a total shunt from Robert
Had
before.
total shunts from Robert before, and
Yeah.
I do believe the occasional Formula Lee entry.
Yeah.
I was born
Correct way to start.
in 1954.
1954. Dan's right. Look at this. Dan's taking notes. Look at this. Born in 1954.
So 64 this year.
Okay.
Will we still need them? Will we still feed them?
Probably not.
I have driven a touring car around the Nordschleife circuit.
Ralph Schumacher drove a Williams F1, didn't he? And he's not that old.
He's not that driver.
Gabriele Tarquini must be. How old is he? He's not that old, is he?
He can't be in his 60s.
Tarquini was a Formula One driver in '93, and then came back to British Touring Cars and won the British Touring Car Championship. He was a Formula One driver, I think, for Alfa Romeo Brabham. I think
How long ago was 93? It seems like
many years
yesterday.
ago.
25.
It's possible, late 30s, maybe.
Maybe.
I have competed in the VLN Endurance Series.
VLN. Very long Nordschleife.
Don't even know what the VLN Endurance Series is, apart from it's an endurance series.
I want to guess.
Oh, God. Well, at the moment, all we've got is Gabriele Tarquini.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah.
I have won races in a comparison series to DTM.
Comparison or companion?
No idea. I'm just right. I'm playing it where it stands. I'm reading it as it's been written to me.
I think Tarquini did race in DTM
What is
before it became like the GT. So when it was actual touring
cars rather than
Big GT cars.
They look a bit like touring cars.
Yeah.
Excuse Bless you.
Thank you.
My team / company / organization / I'm muddying the water, so I'm not saying one thing. Is named after me.
Do you know about Tarquini racing to you?
I've never heard of Tarquini racing.
No, I haven't. So it's probably not Gabriele Tarquini then.
More? Ready?
Yeah. Oh, hang on.
We've had Thingy Abt, haven't we?
It would be Abt's dad. If it's
Abt's dad, yes.
Daniel Abstad.
Abt's dad, which I'm fairly sure is a little village somewhere on the outskirts of Hamburg.
No, I was going to say Abdad from Baghdad.
More clues, please, Lee.
I know the shortcuts around the Nürburgring and A1 ring.
I know the shortcuts.
So it's somebody who likes to take to the grass, I think.
Jos Verstappen's not that old, is he?
The Gravelmeister himself.
Yeah. I know the shortcuts around the Nürburgring and the A1 ring.
Has Hermann Tilke ever raced?
I don't think he's ever seen a racing car. He's just got a set of crayons.
I did the pretty curves. Look at me.
Do we need a guess on this one?
I think you get one more clue, don't you? Then you have to give me a guess.
Okay, let's have another clue then.
My career started in 1990. Oh, sorry, my career started in the 1990s. So there's an S there.
I think Dan might be onto something with Tilke, actually.
The Malaysian Grand Prix was the first Tilke circuit, which started in 1999.
Which was released into the wild.
Yeah.
He must have done architecture and circuit design before that, because you don't go, oh,
I'll just.
I like the suit you're wearing. Would you like to design the national circuit?
Anyone can design a circuit. You just draw a loop and make sure you finish where you started. Yeah. You're in. You've got the job.
Interview question. Do you know the shortcuts around the A1 ring?
And the Nürburgring, yes.
It's dead easy. Circuit. Don't join it up. Rally stage. Easy.
Yeah, knowing the shortcuts around the Nürburgring and the A1 ring might be that I don't know if Tilke helped redesign those circuits, because the Formula One Nürburgring was remodeled, wasn't it? The Sudschleife, as it was called, the South circuit.
Idea.
And of course, the A1 ring being different to the Österreich ring, which it was originally, and that's been...
It's now the Red Bull ring.
Now
It's
the
been
Red Bull
remodeled
ring.
again.
Yeah, but when it was the A1 ring, it was different to the original Österreich ring.
It was shorter than the Österreich ring.
Yeah.
So that would make sense, because the A1 ring came back to Formula One in '97, I think.
Hit me with a name, guys.
Hermann Tilke. Yeah, I like Dan's thinking.
I have a degree in transport and traffic management.
1954.
Born in 54, yeah.
I can't see anything to sway it against Hermann Tilke at the moment.
No, not really.
And I've driven a touring car around the Nordschleife ring. Was the first question.
It
or
does
second
Not necessarily raced round
Yeah.
it.
No, I don't think they ever did touring cars round the Nordschleife, I don't think.
They do every year. 3 laps.
Still do it. DTM.
DTM, yeah.
No.
Yeah, I've watched it on Eurosport for the last 3 years. Sabine Schmitz usually doesn't win, even though she's meant to be the expert on it.
I've won races in a comparison series to DTM. I think it's Tilke. I think these questions are sort of throwing us off and making us think it's a racing driver.
Or is it Helmut Marko? It's probably not Helmut Marko.
I don't think it is Helmut Marko.
Or is it Dietrich Mateschitz?
Dietrich Mateschitz was never a racing driver. He was a toothpaste salesman.
You sounded so... You all looked so confident for a split second there, and it's like Flood ran down to the bottom of your boat and put a big hole in the bottom of it.
Is it this?
Check this, lads.
I don't think it's Helmut Marko. I know for a fact it's not Dietrich Mateschitz.
Hey, look, if you do this to a boat, all the water comes in. Smash.
Check it out, lads. We've got a pool now, yeah. Do you want another clue?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Wait, get off the internet.
Sorry, I am.
Get off the internet.
I'm not on the internet.
I
I'm
think
just
the
being
words,
tweeted.
Lee, are "Get off my land."
I am just seeing.
Dan.
I am just seeing which one of the listeners was sending a direct message while we're recording.
Don't care.
Jana, we're a little bit busy at the moment.
Don't care. You're disqualified.
No, but if Jana sent a question in, we can answer it after Total Show.
No, she's just trying to get me attention for something.
Okay.
I've never haven't had to do this before.
Go.
Get post disqualified.
I am
Used
not.
to.
I
Yes.
am not
No, you're out. Disqualified.
I wasn't look, I am on Twitter.
Don't care. Disqualified.
I'm also running out of.
Chris and Dan. Racing.
Oh dear.
Racing is not what I'm famous for.
Hermann Tilke,
Or Dietrich Mateschitz.
who was a toothpaste salesman, according to the
Or
man
Helmut Marko.
who's been disqualified. Helmut Marko or Herman Tilke, I think we're looking at here.
I would have
Disqualified. My last debatable success was Baku.
Debatable success. Herman Tilke helped design the street circuit, didn't he?
Shall we lock in on Tilke?
Yeah, lock it in with Tilke.
I'm Herman Tilke.
Yes.
Yes.
Well done, Dan. And sharp return.
Chris.
Sharp return for Dan. Dan came up with that one all by himself by writing down notes. Dan's come fully prepared.
Sometimes the questions are important.
But not as important as
This
the
is
answer.
why I failed my test at school.
Hang on a second.
The pen and paper, whatever next day.
Now, if you have 2 apples and Lee takes away 1 apple, how many apples do you have left? Well, it depends what kind of apples they are, because I might not want them if the
So who was it sent in that again?
That was sent in by Robert Higgins.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you very much.
Right. Am I allowed to talk again now?
Yeah, because otherwise it's just going to get weird.
He's not disqualified from the podcast, just from
Oh,
total shunt.
That's all right. I'm not serving a suspension from
No.
from announcing the Formula Lee results.
And you have to start from the 3rd question next week.
3-question penalty. Which means he's not allowed to hear the first 2.
Yeah, it's all right. 4 more points, he gets a ban.
Right, Grosjean, calm down.
when are you going on holiday again?
He doesn't know, remember?
Oh no, he did work it out at the weekend. Then he got delirious, and I don't know.
Fair
I've got a senior race day.
Okay,
So that's Canada.
yes.
Right, Formula Lee. This was
I
the
forgot to have another go.
well, it was the penultimate race in the Winter Series because we're going to be doing real races soon.
Yeah, we are.
This
There's only
one,
one more Winter Series race left.
which has already been decided what it's going to be because we
Yep.
were talking about this,
Done.
and it's the big finale. One thing that we did find out about this is more people send in entries when it's dry.
Yeah.
I liked it because it was short.
I liked it. I like this one as well.
We actually
I like to reward the hardcore, though.
we actually had 43 entries for this race.
Amazing.
Second highest or joint second highest all season. Quite a few new entrants as well. Cut-off time to get into the points was 47.396, which means that the 3 of us in this room that put a time in
Are outside the points?
are all outside the
well.
points. Dan,
Can't win the helmet anyway, can we?
that's true. We have to buy them. Dan, you won this week's 3 Legs 4 Wheels challenge.
Yes.
Coming back strong.
Yeah, you are.
47.663. I was in second, 47.847. And Chris, I'm sorry to say, 48.113.
That's okay.
Overall, that put you 37th,
That's fine.
which is still a winning position in NASCAR, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah. Still get 57.5 points.
Yeah. But wait till we actually have, till we
No,
have a
it's
go.
59.5 if you come third in the sprint section on 2 wheels.
Sorry. got
Backwards.
Yeah.
On fire.
Oh, no, on fire you lose 1.6 bonus points for every flame.
Okay.
Onto the real
But you do
times.
get your pick of the cousins.
Yay.
On to the real times. 47.396 was the time to get in the points, and that in 20th place was achieved by Zane Kosmak.
Well done, Zane.
Good name.
In 19th, we had Brandon Hardy.
Nearly a
almost a
Formula
Formula One
yeah, nearly a Formula One driver.
18th place, Ian Walker. 17th was Bradley Chambers. Lee Webster was 16th. Barnaby Lee in 15th. Ruben Hernandez 14th.
See, these are all people who are usually quite high up in actual Summer Series Formula League.
Yeah. Top 13, we have Nicholas Carline in 13th. He obviously did find the right car line.
Dear God.
Shall I just gloss over?
Just carry
Just
on.
carry on. Okay.
Nicholas, I'm so sorry.
You know, with Sub-Zero in Mortal Kombat, how one of his finisher moves used to grab someone and rip their head off. That's how it felt for my soul. Carry on.
That implies you have a soul.
Yeah, it's not a very good one.
Slightly battered, 1 careful owner and 20 uncareful.
Everyone's got to have one. It keeps the fucking lights on.
12th place then, Ian Beeraz, and Caleb Hurley was 11th. Right, top 10. Wayne Hines, 10th place. Bit of a shock, this one. Jeff Sharp in 9th.
Jeff is what's going on?
Gran Turismo, according to what he tweeted a couple of weeks ago.
Well,
Probably only had one flying lap.
UFC has taken me completely out of the Winter Series.
He's doing single shot qualifying, isn't he, Jeff?
Oh, might as well have a go. Oh, look, I'm in the points.
Yeah.
On to 8th place, Zach Wasson. 7th place, obviously playing another game, occasional winner, Ollie Vestley.
Our favourite Norwegian.
Our favourite Norwegian. 6th place, was Max Williams. Top 5, Simon Joy in 5th. Pete Bull in 4th.
Good effort, Pete. Well done.
On to the podium. 3rd place with a time of 46.445, Weitzer Camping.
Nice.
2nd place with a time of 46.212, Travis Parker.
Even nicer.
And
almost Blink-182's drummer.
Nearly.
winning it again. I think this is... What is this? Is
fourth, I think, is it?
win
I know what
this
you're going to say.
You know exactly what I'm going to say, with a time of 46.161. Well done, Will Coates.
Well done, Will.
Well done.
Good effort.
Somebody actually sent in a message on Facebook today saying, what odds will you give me on Will Coates winning the 2018 season?
I want to have a walkie-talkie conversation with him.
Roger
Wilcoats.
Yeah, that works.
Looking at the championship, although we don't have any championship prizes at the moment because our sponsors disappeared. Jeff Sharp is actually leading that with 83 points, and Pete Bull and Ollie Vestley are tied for second with 77, although Pete Bull is shading it through count back on better results.
Ooh.
Right, we have the last race of the Winter Series, where, of course, the prize is the 2016 Nico Rosberg Championship winning helmet from our friends at CM Helmets.
Yep. Go and check out their website, have a browse through their helmets like Paul did just now to have a look for...
CMHelmets.com.
That's the one. You to go and have a look. And thanks very much to them. We have that 2016 World Championship winning Nico Rosberg helmet to give away. All you have to do is finish in the points to be in with a chance of winning it. So don't think you have to win a race at Formula Lee Winter Series. All you have to do is try and get top 20. Basically, be better than us.
Or top 16 if we're all on form. Mm-hmm. We're kind of the wild cards.
Who can't win.
We can't win. But every time you finish in the points, that is one entry into the draw. Mm. So if you haven't done it yet and you want to give it a go, you've got one last chance.
Mm-hmm. What is this one last chance then?
And this one last chance, as we decided when we were away last weekend,
with it.
It's going to be the fastest car in the vintage cars, which is the 2004 Ferrari. Mm-hmm. It's going to be in the dry, because that's the fastest setting. And it's going to be at the fastest track, which is Monza.
That sounds good to me.
This is going to be a fast one.
Showdown.
So it's got to have an end of season shootout.
Yeah. Well, what we're going to do? Do the draw on Australian Grand Prix weekend?
I think what we will do is when we do the preview show for the Australian Grand Prix in 3 weeks' time, we will do the draw. We'll do it on video. Yeah. Just so you can see it's being done.
Yeah. And it's all legitimate.
And we will put the video of the draw straight away.
Send your bribes on a postcard.
And if you've scored points maybe only once so far in a Winter Series, you still got every points entry gets you an entrant into the draw. So
double your chances, people.
Yeah,
you know how
absolutely.
You know how I enjoy a bit of piss boiling. I would laugh my cock off if somebody won it that got in the points once.
Yeah, finished 20th once.
Oh, it'd be so good.
Yeah, you got people like Will and Jeff who are killing it with the times, getting entries all over, and then we just happened to pull out the name of.
Mm-hmm. Right. At the moment, I'm just checking. There are. That's not eligible. That's not eligible. That's not eligible.
This is Paul doing spreadsheets, people. Yeah. Paul loves spreadsheets. If you want spreadsheet doing, you can email 3legs4wheels at gmail.com.
I will not do a spreadsheet. If
Paul loves spreadsheets.
No, listen to Paul's spreadsheet podcast.
No, you need a pie chart for that.
Thank you, Dave Gorman. At the moment, there are 37 people entered into the draw. Obviously, there's more than 37 entries because there are people with multiple points scoring.
But 37 people.
But there are 37 different people.
Yeah. Think about it. What other competitions can you enter where you've got a 1 in 37 chance?
Of winning the top prize.
Top prize. I know that's not exactly how the statistics are going to
No,
work.
I know exactly. Because of entries and things.
Do you know what I mean?
What other competitions could you enter where you're in with a chance for a prize like that, where you're only up against 36 other people?
That's what I tried to say.
Of course, we could get 20 new entries this week, and all of a sudden you're up against 56 other people.
But still,
that's worst case scenario.
That's at the very worst.
Yeah.
So get your entries in. You can get them to us on email at 3legs4wheels@gmail.com, like Chris just said.
Yep.
You can drop us a private message on Twitter at 3legs4wheels, or you can go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/3legs4wheels, and send us a message on that with a screenshot of your time. It's got to be on F1 2017,
Yep.
on PS4, Xbox One, or PC.
Yes.
Or, well, Steam in general, because Steam is available on other things.
Hmm?
I think there's a Mac version. You can Steam.
Is there a, yeah, but I don't know. I don't think Formula One's on Mac.
PC emulator and it'd do it.
Yeah.
We'll just
stop. Don't get too techy.
We'll just say F1 2017 console or computer version.
Yeah. Spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Spreadsheets over here. He wants to try and do the spreadsheet for each and every console.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
Believe me, I don't.
He said the other day he wants to start doing Gran Turismo competition and a Forza competition.
He told me Project Cars and Assetto Corsa.
Yeah.
and the new TT game when it comes out as well.
Anyone out there playing Wipeout?
What about Ridge Racer?
You just want to throw Mario Kart in there while you're at it?
Don't be ridiculous.
I do spreadsheets for a living as part of my job. I don't mind doing it as a little bit.
By the way, we will be, for obvious reasons, keeping quite a close eye on that Isle of Man TT game that's coming out in a couple of weeks. Anyone else got a copy on the way?
No. Yeah,
I have. Well, I'll keep a close eye on that and let you know how it goes.
No, I've been playing Star Wars Battlefront and World of Warcraft.
I don't have enough time to play games that I want to play, let alone a game that I think's going to be bad. That's got what's the average lap now around TT course?
Many minutes.
Yeah,
132 mile an hour average, which is 18 minutes.
No, it's just a bit less than that. It's about 17 minutes. Yeah,
18-minute laps is something my life has not set up for at the minute.
But you don't enjoy driving the Nordschleife on Project Cars and stuff like that? Because that's like 8 minutes usually.
Yeah, that's 10 away.
Yeah. 2 laps of the Nordschleife.
It's about 18 minutes if you try to do Circuit de la South in a go-kart on Gran Turismo and then find that your lap's been disqualified. You were there that night. You were drunk.
Probably.
Drink responsibly.
Oh, actually, while we're talking about computer games, anyone wants to add me on Xbox, I'm leader on 100 on Xbox as well, and I'm smashing a load of Forza when I'm not smashing people's heads in on UFC.
That's fair enough. We'll have to put something up with old gamer tags on, and if any listeners want to send their gamer tags in, if they're open to friend requests, we will sort that out between the Formula Lee Winter Series and the Formula Lee 2018 season.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Right, that's about it. So if you want to get in touch with us...
Please do, and ask us questions. Because we used to do mailbag, and we get very few questions now.
Yeah, there's lots of comments and lots of interaction on social media, though, which is kind of making up for the direct questions. We've had a couple of questions in this week, but I didn't actually get a chance to note them down because there's just that much going on with the car launches at the moment. But the mailbag will return next week.
Yeah.
All being well.
We hope you enjoyed all the stuff that Lee and Paul brought back from the Mercedes launch at Silverstone.
It was good fun. I'm going to stick some of the pictures I took on my phone up on my Twitter as well.
That's amazing. I'm genuinely looking forward to seeing like the photos that I haven't seen yet that you guys took.
Yeah.
And but if
we want to thank some listeners for making that possible as well.
Yeah.
I want to thank all the listeners.
I want to thank the Patreons in particular. Have we got a list of new patrons to thank?
Yeah, I am just bringing that up now because we've said this before, but there's an extra podcast that you can get where we talk about anything other than Formula One. And
most of the time.
Most of the time. Kind of behind the scenes stuff. DVD extras.
Easter eggs.
Yeah. I think we can probably call it. And you can get this by going to patreon.com/3legs4wheels. You can donate from as little as $1 a month, just like the two new ones that we've had in the last week, Jeremy and Justin Larson, brackets no relation. To any other Justin Larson. But thank you for your pledges. Thank you to everyone that's donated in the year that we've been doing this.
Yeah.
Like I say, there's all the extra content, things that are going on in our lives.
Yeah.
Anecdotes. What was a highlight of this week's?
Yeah, so thanks for giving me...
Long-time listeners will remember a time when it was just the four of us sat around talking for approximately an hour.
Yeah.
What happened on tonight's podcast, people? We had the world champion audio from the world champion on our podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick side note as well, thanks to Felix from Mercedes for sorting us out.
Yes, definitely. And the guys from UK Motor Talk
yes,
as well.
Definitely.
Who, said it before, but helped us immensely.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to give a personal thank you to long-time listener Nick Patakis for helping me out trying to find a car part that's very difficult to source. So he's been doing some digging in the US trying to help me out.
Oh, sweet.
Thank you, Nick.
Did he use spreadsheets?
He may have done. I'll have to ask him.
Paul will be very interested if he did.
Paul wants to see the spreadsheets.
Paul really doesn't. So if you do want to get in touch with us, as I say, you can email us 3legs4wheels@gmail.com, facebook.com/3legs4wheels. We're on Instagram as well. I can never remember the URL for that.
3 Legs 4 Wheels.
Just look for 3 Legs 4 Wheels on Instagram. We've just started a Drive Tribe as well.
I need to join that.
Paul's on spreadsheet share.
I think you'll find it's called Google Docs. Damn! And if you want to tweet us individually, you can get us on
at Flood21
at Danbert.
No.
Yes.
No.
Do I have to say the underscores?
Yes. Because some poor man called at Danbert
has been getting all your tweets.
At _Danbert_.
Thank you.
I'm at a total shunt.
And I'm at Pablo100. Right, we're going to go and teach Dan what an underscore is. I'll write a spreadsheet to do it or something. Lou's going to go crack some heads and Chris is going to look for obscure car parts.
Yep.
We will be back next week. We'll have a wrap-up of what they managed to get done in the first week of testing and anything else that comes in.
Yeah.
And we'll see you then.
Bye.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Go listen to Musty Audio. Bye.